segment, we're going to be focusing on our big question is, why don't we understand Generation Z or Gen Z, as some of us call them? Why don't we understand them? And it's so important for us to understand this set of people, because no matter the great work Edves does, or educators or parents, if we do not understand who we're building that product around, then we will not succeed. So who are they? They are people born after 1996, thereabout, and that means the oldest of that generation of people will be about 25. So that means they're still in school. Some of them have just started work and all. So basically, it's important that we understand them. I'm going to go on to the panelists and just ask them to introduce themselves very quickly. All we know their names. I know I didn't introduce myself, but I'll do that when we finish. Let me do the big job first. So I'm going to start from my immediate right. Could you just tell us your name in 1 minute and tell us who you are?
Thank you so much, and thank you, Edves, for this opportunity. My name is Mrs. Carol Emeka Sunday. I'm the Executive Director of Silos Price Schools in Port Harcourt, and I'm the current coordinator of the Association of Christian Schools International, Port Harcourt chapter. Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Good afternoon. My name is Ronke Adeni, fondly called Ronke Posh, and I'm just a happy teacher.
Excellent. Our Posh, as I love to call her. So who are they? When we talk about Gen Z, I've said what year they were born, and I just want to share a few things. First thing is about their attributes. Who are they? One, they're all about technology. These were born into the real days of internet and cell phones. The next thing is they love social contact, but not necessarily physical. But COVID, the lockdown, the pandemic period demystified that, because they began to crave for physical connection with their friends. Diversity is in their DNA. 25 years ago, globalization was right there. So all they know is diversity. Fourth one is that they love independence. And I came across a very interesting resource a couple of days ago, a video by Sinek. He's an author and also has done a lot in the business world. And he was talking, he was answering a question about the millennials, who are the generation just before the people were focused on. And he said for him, there are 4 missing pieces. And we'll talk around these 4 pieces as we go along. The first one is parenting. And his description of that is failed parenting strategies. And I'm sure all educators in this room will agree with that. Parents are struggling. They don't know, oftentimes they're not sure of how to handle their children. The second one is technology, how these children use technology. The third one is that they're very impatient. They were born in a world, and my favorite example is the fact that they don't have to wait till next week to see the next episode of any of those things they watch. Just go on Netflix, you can just watch, you can binge on it if you choose to. And the last one is the environment into which they were born. So we're going to be reflecting on these people from 2 angles. The first one is trying to understand them, so that whatever information we get will support educators to be able to support their learning better. And when I talk about learning, I do not mean just academic learning. I mean all-round learning, social learning, emotional, and all they need to survive. So I'm going to start off with, again, I'll start from my immediate right, and I'm going to ask Mrs. Emeka Sunday, who are these people? Who are the Generation Z citizens, let me call them that? Who are they, and why is it so difficult to understand them?
Okay, I would say they are the current children we're dealing with, because you've really done a good job of explaining children born from 1996 up until now. But we have the boomers, we have the millennials, and then we have the Generation Z, which are the people we are working with. And you asked another question, why has it been very difficult for us to understand them? Because they were born in different times from us. And another thing also is that the way we were taught is absolutely nothing near what is going on right now, which is why all of us are learning and relearning, which is why we are coming for conferences like this, thanks to Edves, for us to know the new thing. And it's not just about knowing the new thing. This new thing actually has boiled down to how to reach the Generation Z, because they are techie savvy. They are everything about them is quick. It has to be fast. It has to be quick. It has to, just like what she said, they might not need to wait for you. They will find the resources themselves. They will find the information themselves. So the question now is, how do we reach them? Which is why we do what we do. And without preempting myself, let me still say it so I don't forget. It will be very disastrous for any educator to want to say, this is what I know, this is how I was taught. Like the man that spoke and said, he asked a question, and somebody said, if the children say we don't want to continue with assembly, and he said, who born you? You don't do that this time around. You understand? So the thing is, they are children that are born in different time from us. All we need to do right now is to learn how they learn and learn how to reach them if we want to reach them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carol. I love what you said. You must adapt to them. It's not about how we were raised. Okay, let me go on to Ronke Posh. Please go on. Who are they? Why is it so difficult to understand them?
I thought you were going to give me a different
No.
question. Okay, so we know the dictionary definition, the internet, the Google definition of Generation Z children. They like technology and everything that you have said. However, when we think about Africa and we think about Nigeria, do we actually have Gen Z children? Or have we set them a decade and decades behind as Gen Z children? How many African children have access to technology? So, knowing that, are they Generation Z children? Or we're talking about the elite children in Victoria Island, VGC, Ikoyi, Magodo, Ikeja. How about the rest? The ones in Adamawa, in Kaduna, are they Gen Z children? Until we understand what we're dealing with, then we will know that some of these Western ideologies are not for us. The typical Nigerian child is not a Gen Z child. Yes, my daughter is Gen Z, yeah. She goes to some school, and she was made head girl yesterday, and oh yes. And yeah, she used technology, iPad is there, iPhone is there, but is she the typical Nigerian child that does not have a chair to sit in school, or does not even have a school to go to? So we need to define what Generation Z is for Africa. Whilst we don't want to be globally irrelevant, we must address our issues. So when I want to define Gen Z, you are absolutely right with the world-class first world Generation Z definition. However, somebody here, maybe Dari or Dimeji, will define what Gen Z is, and then we can begin to know the strategies that will work for those children.
Okay, let me help you out with that. Quite interesting perspective. Up until between 2016 and 2018, I had the privilege, and that brought a twist to my career in education. I had the privilege to go off to Osun State, and I didn't go to the capital. I was in a town that was about an hour away from the capital, Ejigo to be precise. And these were children who could not, some of them, not all, who couldn't write out a correct sentence in English. Some of them couldn't spell their names. They couldn't read nor write. And the shocking thing for me was they knew how to handle their phones excellently. They knew how to do it. So much so we had several Skype sessions. But hear this, the most shocking one for me was the day they had WAEC. They had a few exams, but I was away from school at that point. But I got a report that took me back to school on the day they had the math exam. And guess what we saw? These children had all sorts of things downloaded on their phones, and they knew how to get it on paper. These are children that ordinarily would say, oh, they've been cut off from the tech world. And so we stopped them from doing all that. And when that happened, the DPO, because we had to get the police involved, the DPO said to me, Madam, what you did was suicidal. That nobody has ever stopped this kind of thing in our town without being hurt. And I said to him, Oga, don't worry, there's much more to this. But the point I'm making is this. In my experience, even those children that we think are in those areas, give them tech and they will perform magic. That's one. Number two, we have some of them, even in this particular town I mentioned, their strong area is what? Yahoo on the phone. They know how they do it. So in that context, whilst we may say that, yeah, there's a difference between that Gen Z and this Gen Z, there's certain traits that cut across. It doesn't matter the environment where you're in. The basic things. These children too, far away in Ejibo, very impatient. One of the conversations we had early days was, why are we struggling with WAEC? Our brothers who graduated our home, they haven't found jobs. The politicians and their hooligans are making plenty of money. We don't have time to wait for that. Impatience.
Yes. Can I also say something about that? We might say something about, do they have the gadgets? Do they have the gadgets is different from, are they aware of the gadgets? And if made available, can they use it? For instance, I remember even their bookie that is using cow has phone. Now everybody across has phone. At least we are starting from there. It wasn't like that before. So no, it depends now on the kind of phone they have. They are able to access certain things, even if it's radio. You understand? Which for me still makes them qualified to be called Generation Z, because no matter where you are right now in the village, you still have a phone. I remember in our village, of course, the children hadn't seen laptops before, or rather hadn't handled, so we don't know if they could or not. So in a foundation we ran, we had to introduce, or rather we bought laptops for the children that were under our scholarship. Within days, you will not believe that those children have never handled this before. You understand? Within days. And apart from the understanding how to use it, they even went ahead to learn both the software and the hardware. And you needed to know the small village children that were manipulating the hardware. So the difference between whether they have it or if whether they have it or if they have it, are they able to manipulate it? They are two different things. But what I'm saying in essence is that these children know it even before they meet it, for whatever reason. They know it before they meet it. I mean, gadgets, and they can manipulate it because they are born into it and they already are aware of it. So it's a matter of time.
Okay, thank you very much. So it's clear now that even if they're not in the perfect situation, they have traits in them that we can leverage on. That's really the point. We can leverage. So how can we leverage on this? One, from the perspective of educators, how can we support parents? And I'm going to ask Mrs. Posh particularly to share her experience with her daughter. That's a creative child. If you hadn't handled her properly, you would be a loggerhead now. You allowed her certain privileges, that's why. So how can we support these children? To be honest, the child in Lagos, the child far away in Ejibo, the main difference is the circumstances. Take Ejibo, bring Ejibo to Lagos, support Ejibo, Ejibo will deliver. That's the reality of who we are. So how can we support teachers? No, parents first, then teachers, and even share with Edves, because they're doing a fantastic job, and I believe they deserve a round of applause for this. Yes, at least I know we're listening. So how can we support them? What else can we put in to engage these children further? We don't have more time, so I'm going to say please start 3 minutes and then we come back to Carol.
Okay, when it comes to supporting teachers, we need regulations that needs to be enforced. We have them, but they need to be enforced. Even if you type on social media now and say, talk about exam malpractice, for example, people will say, what's the big deal? Everybody does it. Am I right or am I alone? Yeah? So we don't see that exam malpractice is a big deal. And until we begin to see that it's a big deal, then nothing is going to change. Because people expect people to cheat. I mean, I did a program in K2 and I had to do it as part of something I was doing. And I went there and I submitted my work at some point, and the lecturer was like, madam, you know, the first one, 25K, 10K, meaning that I submitted this homework, a cardboard, agricultural homework. I'm going to put some farm tools, which I just went to the nursery and put on it. But they did not expect me to go through that trouble. They would rather I pay and get away with it. So if those teachers are coming out of training school and they are like that, they don't know much, then there's forever going to be a challenge. So we're just going around in a vicious cycle. One or two will be able to salvage. Maybe you say, okay, you help them with their values because they're in a conducive environment. But too many teachers are cheating. Too many parents pay for exam centers. So what are we talking about? What parents are we helping? We need values. Now we need to, you're not having values on the wall. I keep saying it. We had values on the wall at the first school. I removed it. I didn't want again. I said, your values, you must leave it. If you say integrity, don't tell lies. It's not something on the wall. You are the values. So the teachers are cheating. The parents are paying for exam centers. So how are we ever going to raise great children? Even when we have simple things like elections in schools to vote for head girl, head boy, or whatever the position may be, leaders will still rig it. Teachers will still rig it. Teaching and telling the children that it's okay to cheat. So can you say that we have a major problem? It's not that we are good. People know what to do. Who doesn't know that it's wrong to tell lies or cheat? They know. But the system is set up in such a way that, in fact, if you don't cheat, you're a fool. Send the child to go and buy something. Give the child 100 naira and the thing is 20 naira. The child will not give you change. If he gives you change, the friend will say, see, Momo, why you go do and change? They expect you to get a cut from every single thing. So that is where we need to start from. We need national values, that national anthem and pledge that we're saying, we need to live by it. You know, people will leave the religious center and go to Babalawo to go and do medicine to kill the other neighbor to get more money. Our issues are many. It's nothing to do with that we can't teach or skills or anything. When we get those values right, corruption, all those things that are
let's assume
we move on.
We get the values right, and I agree with that. Yes, if we get the values right, what can we do?
If the values are right, okay. So, for example, and they allocate a budget for education, we know that it's going to work. We're not going to say, like I read in the papers, that 100 computers were bought in some states for 100 million, meaning that one computer is 1 million naira. As naira devalued to that extent? I don't think so. So if we get those values right, and there's no longer corruption, we know that 100 million is going to buy so much beyond computers. 100 million, excuse me. Do you know what it will do to the school? It will just name the school anywhere in Nigeria. It will be a decent school. At least the children will sit on a chair. They will have a roof over their head. They will have a projector, a smart board at the very least. They will be able to do that. Naira is not that bad yet.
So if we get values right, a lot of things will begin to fall in place. And then we can focus on strengthening the teachers, focus on strengthening the school systems.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. You want to add something to that before I go to Carol?
No, I'm good.
Okay, Carol.
Okay, what Edves can do to help parents? Currently, parents are still crying about, the online school actually exposed the children to a lot of things. Things keep popping up on children's tablets. The truth is that this is where we are currently. and we're not planning to get down. So Edves should please help the parents. Okay, first of all, we have the issue of getting addiction right now. Addiction to games. What do we do? How can parents, because I know that this is the heart cry of parents, how can parents help the children to focus on their book? You know, most of the time they take the tablet, the next thing they will leave that assignment they want to do, they go to games. How can, I know that we have certain apps that block the tablets and all that. So how can we encourage other educators to say, okay, get them more educative apps and all that, put it in their laptops and in their systems, and shut down on those stuff. In fact, even with using my phone, I don't know how the notification just came out. I saw something, I didn't know what it was, I just clicked on it. What I saw, I quickly start opening on my phone, looking for where to shut down all those things. So we make it available and then we publicize it, even for teachers as well. Find out how we should continue to help parents at home as well, because after all said and done, some parents don't know what to do and they come back to us. So I like Edves to, if you already have it, we expect that you publish it also, so we know how to reach it to help parents, especially because most parents are not at home and the children are going into a lot of places. When school resumed, like Mr. Fowler said yesterday, schools were in shock as at what came back with the children. And instead of finding a way as educators to really help those children, they began to expel children and all that, which is not a solution actually, because after all said and done, we are the people that by the grace of God has handed the grace to help those children. So how do we help the children? If Edves has a solution like that also, we'll be very happy.
Thank you. So basically what we're saying
sorry
is...
to cut, I just want to add 30 seconds. You see, when you buy a device for yourself, for your school or your child, it's very important that you bought it. You have to recognize that you bought it. That means who is in control? Who is in control, guys? Teachers. If you buy your device, who is in control? So if you buy it for your child, you are in control of the device. This, when I left my house this afternoon, whatever I left, you make sure that I made sure that I knew exactly what my daughter would be doing and how much screen time she would have. Checks and balances are in place. Free tools, Google Family Link, QO Studio, just Google it. There are more than 50 of what she's talking about that can help you. But the thing is, because parents don't want to spend that time to know how to use it, they already exist. I guess we just be reinventing a wheel again. They already exist. It is that the parents don't want to be there. If I don't want you to use this phone, I don't need to put any app on it. My phone doesn't have a password that my daughter doesn't know. Everything, she can get into it. But you can't touch it. There's a time that we don't touch phone in my house. There are times that you just can't. Have those rules. Again, there are those family values. It can't control me. I'll run around wondering where my phone is, but I don't want to touch it. Out there, where? It's not possible.
Thank you.
Take control.
Thank you very much. So I hear two things, and those two things are our reality. You have some families who are completely ignorant when it comes to phone security. And what Edves can do is parent education. You don't need to reinvent the wheel, but once in a while, put out information. This is how you can achieve X, Y, Z. And if you have a very strong parent community, that's also a learning platform for them. Then I hear the other side, which is families must put values before anything. Before education, values should be there. And ultimately, you see, the children, the Generation Z that we're talking about, they are very, very independent, very resilient children when it comes to what they want to achieve, if they want to achieve it. And that means that no matter how many passwords you put on a phone, they will find a way around it. So what's the solution to that? One is communication, setting the boundaries, and helping them understand what you are protecting them from. Have those conversations. You cannot raise those children without having frank and difficult conversations with them. So as educators and as parents, it's important that we know that we're raising a breed of very smart children. They have access to whatever information they need to get. So it's left to us to continue to engage them. And as I said, Edves can provide more information. To be honest, everything is out there. But again, there's so much information out there that parents who struggle with technology will get drowned. And so we can sift it out and give it to them. So I'm just going to take the last line from our panelists because we've run out of time. What's your last line, Carol?
Okay, my last line will be for educators. There's this issue of, COVID is over, we can get back to our normal life. Please, let's just forget about that. There's nothing like getting back to normal again. So what do I mean by that? It's not like, okay, we can't hug again. When it comes to education, there are so many lessons we learned online because of the kind of children we are working with. So I will encourage educators to please keep reinventing yourself, keep checking out how these children learn, how to reach them. There is nothing like, okay, I have to reach them the way I was reached. If you try that, you find out that you will not be teaching children, rather you will lose children. So I encourage us to please keep reinventing ourselves, keep looking at what's new for them, and then keep ensuring that that you try to reach them using what they know. For instance, I know that there are certain skills those children would need, like collaboration. They learn from each other, use that skill as much as possible. There are so many other skills they need, like project-based. Even if you be paying lip service to it, please make it something more important in your teaching and learning. Because after all said and done, these are children that are going to be handling viruses. These are children that are going to be talking about genetic engineering. These are children that are going to be talking about so many concepts we're hearing right now. So let us also rise up as educators to meet them where they are. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Carol. Don't care for your last line?
I'm just going to borrow from what you've said, which is for parents to spend time with their children and learn technology. If you're already one of those parents that is always telling your child to help you update your WhatsApp, stop it. It's not cool. If you're one of those women that says, my husband is the one that does all the tech, stop it. It's not helping you. You must be abreast. You must know what is going on when it comes to technology. And when I speak to parents, what I often find that when it comes to this running around with phones and everything, what they're afraid is for their child to watch porn. Am I right? How many of them did not watch porn as children? How many people here did not stumble on it as a child? I stumbled on it, I think I was 9 years old. Anybody else? Am I the only one? Nobody has seen porn in their life. That is what we are afraid of. And I'm not advocating that your children should watch pornography. What I'm saying is have those difficult conversations. Let them know the names. Let them know penis, vagina. Before my daughter was 10, she knew blowjob. She knew masturbation. She knew it. So nobody can give her anything. Nobody can tell her that if she uses a particular cream. When she went to school, girls were in the bathroom rubbing their chest with Vaseline because they wanted their breasts to grow big. She came home giggling because she was informed. My people perish for what? Lack of knowledge. If you do not equip your children, then you will continuously fight technology. Technology is not the enemy. We are constantly consuming in Nigeria. When are we going to get our children to produce? It is with technology they will produce. They will code. It is with technology that they will get online. They will publish books. They will be public speakers. They will be international speakers. It is with technology that they will be engineers. What Edves is doing is technology. So keeping technology away from them, you are helping nobody. Instead, tell them, my daughter has seen something appropriate on the phone before. She brought it to me. That is the kind of relationship I have with her. She's the type that a boy told her in class, Mom, he told me, calm your tits down. And I said, really, did he? Let's go. It is sexual harassment. Let your children know how to be ladies. Let your boys know how to treat a girl. But we cannot pour from an empty cup, can we? If you are not there, you can't do it. If I'm the president, I'm telling you, be like China, one child. When I see that you have passed with this one, then you have another one. That is the way it's supposed to be. People think it's a bragging right to have many children. When people give birth to children and put it on Facebook or social media, I congratulate them. It's a good thing, but it's not the most awesome thing. The most awesome thing is your result when that child is 18 years old. Let's see how well you did.
Thank you. Awesome. Go ahead if you want to give a high round of applause. Thank you. And that goes to the other panelists as well. So thank you so much to Edves for this platform. And I hope that we have taken two major things away. The new path. Two important things on the new path. One, technology is not going to go away. And Edves is doing a great job of harnessing technology, bringing the three major stakeholders together. Excellent job. The other one is communicate with those children. Whether you're an educator, whether you're a parent, have very difficult conversations with them. If you do not do that, somebody else will, and they will teach them the wrong thing. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ayokwe Junjideaka, and I love to call myself a teacher. Thank you very much.